Hey everybody, welcome to a special Ask Me Anything for Prime Day. So days like this are absolutely phenomenal for Amazon sellers, especially private label sellers like us. We work really hard. We have good sales year round. But today we're expecting to have, anywhere from 5 to 6 or 7 times our normal day of sales. And this will trickle on for the whole week as they do specials and as you're doing deals. Like honestly, we don't do too many discounts. It's just that a lot more people are shopping today. So it's just awesome. So to give back on a day like this, when I feel so blessed, I just want to give back in any way I can. And I felt like, let me do a Prime Day special, Ask Me Anything. And so a lot of you guys either haven't joined the inner circle that I have, or don't have maybe the capital to join and do private label, or maybe you're on the fence. I do this every week. Every single Monday, I'm live for an hour and a half to 2 hours answering questions for all the students. And so I figured this would be a good opportunity so you guys can see what a Prime Day might look like, or like an Ask Me Anything might look like. And so here we are. So if anyone has a question, what I want you to do is use the raise your hand button in Kajabi, like in Zoom. There's if you go into participants, I think, and then there's an opportunity to raise your hand. Go ahead and raise your hand, and I will be able to call on you one at a time. You can unmute and ask your question, and we can go from there. So if you have a question, just go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll get started. Don't everyone jump up at once. Yeah, you guys can also just type the question in the chat too if you don't have a mic. So you could raise your hand and I'll read your question if you have to. Or if you want to unmute now and just ask a question, no one has their hand up, so you can do it. This is really just anything you want to know about private label, Amazon, anything like that, then you can fire away. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Brandon. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
My question is, I've been working so hard to try and protect my honeymoon period. I'm really cautious of everything you've said about it. And I stupidly have let it lapse for 2 days. I set it to the 10th of October, and I realized early on the 13th. And I changed the dates again, the release date and the launch date to the future. My stock is sort of on the move at the moment. It's on its way into Amazon this week. So my question is, what do you think I should do? Should I leave it or should I attempt to relabel it?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not going to arrive in the next like 10 days and check in, then it's you're pretty much going to lose most of your honeymoon, and that's going to definitely impact your launch. So you kind of just need to weigh the cost of launching without a honeymoon versus launching with. I think the cost is anywhere from 3 to 5 times more expensive to launch without a honeymoon. So for those of you that are watching that don't know how this works and what a honeymoon is, basically, if you have a brand new product that is launching on Amazon and you have no sales history and the product has never been sold before, Amazon doesn't know where to rank the product. So the way that their ranking algorithm works is that they take into account a lot of history. They take into account your conversion rate, your click-through rate, the relevancy of the keywords that you're on, and then your velocity or your sales velocity, so total sales. Now, they can't just be like for the last day that they're looking at that. So what they do is it's with a pretty complicated algorithm, they will calculate multiple averages. So they'll look at a 1-day average, a 3-day average, a 7-day average, a 15-day average, a 30-day average, for example. And so the further out, the less that weight that carries, so that if you're trending up, then it's positive for you. But if you've launched your product or you created your listing and you had it just sitting there before your inventory got there, then you've accumulated a lot of zeros, or what we call negative history. And so it's called losing that honeymoon period. That honeymoon period is like you have fresh data to give Amazon, and you can kind of control those levers to pull for ranking, because if you know how the algorithm works and what Amazon wants to see for ranking, and you can generate click-through rate, conversion rate, and sales and relevancy, and optimize your listing properly, then you can fly up the ranks of keywords the day you launch. In the first few days, you could be ranked in the top 10 of almost any keyword. Whether you stick there depends on that history, or like those conversion rates and click-through rates, and whether your product deserves to be there, and what it'll earn. But at least we know how to get there quickly and how to get there. So the problem that you're facing when you lose your honeymoon is that instead of doing it in 3 or 4 days, it might take you 10 or 15 days of launch. And you're doing giveaways or marketing and outside marketing expenses to drive traffic and conversions. Maybe giving large discounts on products, or even giving away products for free. So it's definitely worth relabeling your product and making sure that you haven't lost that honeymoon. So the way that you start and preserve your honeymoon is when you first create the listing. There are several dates on the back end when you're creating the listing, when you do it through Seller Central. One is going to be your start date and your launch date. Those are the two: launch date and start date. Now, there's also a release date. So those 3 dates are the ones that I always put out into the future. I'm not 100% sure which one exactly controls the honeymoon. So we just, as a precaution, set all 3 dates to the far future, like a year away. That way, when your listing never goes live and you click on it, it'll take you to what we call the dogs of Amazon. It just says that it's like an error page, like this link doesn't exist. That means that your listing was never live, never accumulating negative history, and that the day your product is checked in and you're ready to finally launch it, you can just set your dates to that day, and your listing will go live, and you'll start fresh, brand new with your honeymoon. So that's a really important thing. This is also why that history being factored in is also why launching new products versus relaunching old products can be so different, right? If you have a product that's not doing well, like Nam has a question. I have a dud product that I've tried everything: rebate, PPC, managed to rank page 1. So you want to just liquidate. But if you have a product that you can't even get near the first page, there's a few things that happen there. You just have negative history. Maybe your indexing was wrong when you first launched. And now you've got to overcome all of that history. It can be very expensive, and you might never get there. So it's oftentimes better just to relaunch on a new listing and start all over. So,
Brandon, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Can I just ask a quick follow-up to that?
Yeah, for sure.
It was just, if I set the date to the future after I realized that, after it had been live for 2 days without images, does the honeymoon period still run? It doesn't reset.
So I'm sorry?
Once I noticed that it had been running, the listing had been running without any images, if I then set the date to the future, the launch and release dates to the future, does that change it in any way, or does it carry on running?
It's still already started, unfortunately. So you started from the day you let it lapse on accident.
Okay.
So it's not like you've only got 2 days of history. I think it kind of just keeps accumulating from there, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, who's next? You can use the raise your hand function in the Zoom. So if you go to participants, I think there's a button that says raise your hand. And so if you have a question, or you can type your questions. Brandon asks, does your mastermind focus on Amazon only, or are multiple channels like Walmart? Right now, the majority of our content is Amazon. And we have some outside marketing that we teach. So we teach how to do Facebook ads, and we're going to be expanding with some expert guests for Etsy and other types of advertising, SEO, like Google advertising. So right now it's mostly just focused on Amazon, but the focus is to build a brand and to be able to drive traffic from outside of Amazon. That's really important for us. So there are a lot of classes even just on ManyChat. Okay, so Adrian asks, hello, I will launch in about 1 month after the mid-November. How do you think I should approach the launch considering that time? Adrian, what category are you launching in? Is it something that's very giftable that's going to be taking off because of Q4, or is it something that like is in office and won't do much at all during Q4? Yeah. So I think like it really depends, Adrian. Like I don't know the category you're launching in. If you're launching mid-November, you're okay because you have 5 to 10 days before Black Friday, which is kind of like the big trigger event for Q4, where it gets a little bit more expensive. Because one of the things for launching is that they factor for quality score and launches are going to be that sales velocity, like total sales. And so once your competition is selling a lot more, then you have to generate more sales to rank with them or ahead of them. So it gets more expensive to launch in the middle of a season, for example. Yeah, so it is giftable in office. So what I would do is I think you're going to be okay mid-November. Late November, Black Friday weekend, Cyber Monday weekend, I probably wouldn't launch any products. If you had to, like if there are delays, wait until after Cyber Monday and probably launch that Tuesday or Wednesday, like that first week of December, and then just try to knock it out of the park for December because you have another peak. The way that it typically goes in December is that you have huge spikes in sales Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and then you have a little dip. Now that dip is still a lot more sales than normal. It might be like 3 to 5 times normal sales, but then it builds up to a crescendo like the 14th to the 18th of December as people are doing their last minute online shopping. So you want to kind of hit that lull, and then that way you can take advantage of all of December and in those last 2 weeks. I wouldn't try to launch on Black Friday, for example, but if you can get your stuff into Amazon and launch 3 to 5 days before Black Friday, it's cutting it very close, but I think you can still pull it off because you can hit your ranks into the top 10 if you know what you're doing with a good launch. You can hit like a lot of keywords. You can go really wide, get into the top 10 of a lot of keywords in the first 3 to 5 days, and it might just take off and be perfect timing. We've had that happen. So Randolph, I see you have your hand up. How's it going?
Hi, Brendan. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Thanks again for doing this. Yeah, I have a question. I have a product that doesn't have what I would consider to be 10 direct competitors. So I've gone through your videos on how to use Cerebro to get the 10 competitors and get your list of relevant keywords. So I'm not sure for this particular product how I would find what would be the most relevant keywords because I don't have that many direct competitors. So do you have any other suggestions on how I can do that?
We've run into that situation. What's interesting is that probably means it's pretty easy to rank for the keywords that your competitors are getting sales from, if there are very specific keywords. So what you need to do is you still need to do a master keyword list using just those competitors and find out what are the keywords that are driving their sales. How are my competitors getting their sales, right? And even if you only have 5 competitors, you kind of still need to know the most relevant keywords using the relevancy formula. So you can determine, okay, even though these are the most relevant, very like niche specific or long tail keywords, are there any generic keywords that are driving sales for my competition that I need to be targeting? So in other words, also, not only should I be targeting those generic keywords, but can I realistically rank on them, right? So for example, if you're selling a very niche toy and the top 2 guys are on the first page for toys for 3-year-old boys, super generic keyword, very difficult to rank for in the first month of launching because you have to understand that someone searching that isn't always looking for your specific type of toy, so you're not going to convert well on it. So that type of keyword that's generating sales for a competitor is difficult for you to emulate or to duplicate. And you need to kind of back that expectation out so that you can understand that guy is selling 5,000 units a month, but most of it's probably coming from these generic keywords that I'm not going to be able to, to duplicate. So those other second, third, fourth best sellers are more likely to be where I would be. So just you have to be able to pull all of that information from that limited master keyword list that you have and get an idea, how are they getting their sales, and is it something I can duplicate, or are there enough keywords that I can target to duplicate their success, and am I happy duplicating it? And then the other thing you can do is you can add and supplement 5 or more sellers that are selling in a similar niche, but not the exact same product. So you can do 2 master keyword lists. You could do one that's very specific to your design and your product, and then you could do one that's a little bit more general. And then that way you can try to find keywords that you might be able to rank for as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the competitors I'm looking at, I don't think their listings are very optimized. So I think I would have to go maybe to a broader category to get more keywords. Is that what you're saying?
Well, once you look at them, you know, you never know, right? Like it might just be like, I don't know if it's a newer product or whether it's just maybe there aren't a lot of ways people search for the product. So something like that generally has what we call a lower opportunity score. And it means that it's going to be competitive faster in a shorter period of time. People will find products that are making money for other people, and they'll duplicate those products pretty quickly, right? Mm-hmm. The key is what we're good at is ranking for a lot of keywords. And so we want to play to that strength. So we want to find products with a lot of keywords so that when we rank for them, it's not easily duplicatable. It's not easy for competition. There's a barrier to entry there. So if you don't have our training or our understanding of the algorithm and our launch methods, people can throw up competition all the time, and they're just going to sit there on page 20 or page 10 on 5, you know, maybe make it to the first page of a few keywords, but the 40, 50, 100 keywords that we targeted, we're ranking well for, and we're getting sales for. So we're just going to stay way ahead of them. So you have to kind of understand the opportunity, the risk when looking at a limited product like that, and see how good the opportunity is based on those, the keywords you have.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, Adrian. Adrian. Okay, we'll go back to Adrian. Adil, how are you?
Hey, boss. How are you? I'm fine.
Good. Good to talk to you, man. Do you have a question?
Yes, boss. I'm a little bit confused in plural.
So you're confused?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So what is your question? Do you have a specific question?
Yes. Should I? Hello. Is 3 S? Should I deduct only 1 S, or all S should I deduct?
Yeah, I didn't understand the question. Do you want to type it out?
Like cats, dogs. There is 2 S, right? Should I deduct only 1 S, or should I deduct?
Oh, okay. So you're saying from the PPC training where you eliminate plural? Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, right, boss. Yes.
Okay. I understand. So Adil is asking a question. I have a masterclass on PPC training that I did for the Inner Circle, and I made it available to other people to buy. The way that it works is that Amazon will consider a plural and a singular different for keyword ranks, but they consider it the same for advertising. So the problem with that is that if he's talking about cats and dogs, and I'll try to give another thing like that I usually do, like diaper caddy, right? So if you have a keyword that you want to target for if you're going to sell a diaper caddy, and you find that there are relevant keywords with good search volume, diaper caddies and diaper caddy, if you target both of those in your PPC, both of those campaigns that are targeting those keywords will both be competing against each other. So that becomes a huge problem because you can end up with a lot of duplication. And so what ends up happening, it becomes a giant mess for optimization. You go in one day and you find out the diaper caddy is not converting well. Diaper caddies wasn't getting any impressions at all because it was giving it all to diaper caddy in a different campaign. So you lower the bid for diaper caddy, and now all of a sudden diaper caddies is getting all the impressions, but you've already known that it isn't converting well. So you have to now reduce that spend again. And so it becomes this loop of playing back and forth with duplication. It becomes a really big problem. So yeah, for every word, if it's diapers, caddies, it's the same exact thing as diaper caddy, okay? So you would remove the S from every, all plurals to make sure that you're only targeting all sets of the keywords that Amazon considers the same for marketing, for pay-per-click. You wanna make sure that you're only targeting them once, okay? The other thing that Amazon does with regards to PPC is that they consider keywords with conjunctions to be the same as keywords without conjunctions. So the diaper caddy is the same as diaper caddy, which is the same as the diaper caddies, the diapers caddies. Like all of those are considered the same. So one keyword in an exact campaign even, like will hit all of those. So you need to know that that type of stuff so that when you're preparing your pay-per-click campaigns, that you remove all of the potential for duplication. We have a lot of, that's a 6-hour class, by the way. So I don't have enough time to do a lot of PPC talk today, like in an Ask Me Anything, but that is literally a 6-hour class just on pay-per-click to show you guys how we do our SOP, our standard operating procedure for pay-per-click, and how we set up our campaigns and launch and everything like that. So I hope that answered your question, Adil.
Yeah, thank you, boss. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Adrian, are you back? Trying Adrian again. Paging Adrian.
Doing
Maybe
a free AMA.
There you are. How's it going? I can hear you. Oh, I could hear you. Now I can't. Someone joined as Amazon support. That's funny. All right, so I'll go to more in a second. Let me answer one of these. Let me see. Okay, Alex asks, I should have got my product ready to launch between 10th and 20th of December. If it doesn't check in time, do you reckon will be better to wait past Christmas for launch? Not very giftable. So Alex, if it's not a giftable item and all of your competition isn't going to be selling a lot more units, you can launch in that period of time. Know also the slowest time for Amazon for sales is Christmas Day through New Year's. And so that's a great time to launch, because if you can generate sales on those days with the right click-through rate and the right conversion, it's even cheaper to launch on those days. What we're finding is like you don't need a lot of giveaways or add to carts or anything like that normally anyway. Like the requirement, if you've preserved your honeymoon, is much lower than it even was before. I think that it's very easy to rank now. It's whether you stay there that is what matters. Like, does your product belong to stay there? Are you getting organic click-through rate, organic conversion rate, and have you optimized your listing properly through content and great images and the right words and the right keywords in the right places? Matters a lot. So there's a lot that goes into launching and ranking. Again, that's like 12 hours of classes that we have in the Inner Circle. But I think that launching a non-giftable item in December is fine. I think otherwise, if you're launching a giftable item, consider launching on Christmas and then through that week. More, how's it going, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. So, quick question. I'd probably put in at least 20 hours into all the videos that you have on the seller system. But I put in a ton of hours on doing keyword research, and I'm finding that almost every area is completely competitive. Like there's plenty of keywords, but the top 10 competitors are all being ranked for them. So I'm thinking, should I just jump on board even if it's risky because there is a sign of demand? Or like, what would you recommend if there's like a tough time finding product, even after doing all the keyword research for like at least over 10 products and just hitting, dead zone every time?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the niche you're targeting. I mean, if you're targeting something like skincare, beauty, like supplements, right? Like electronics, those niches in particular are very, very competitive, and almost every product you can think of are going to have 10 guys that are selling that are pretty good at Amazon, or at least ranking really well for most of the keywords. Just know the level of risk you're getting into, and then how good your launch needs to go, and how like you need to add extra value in a product like that, because it is super competitive. You got competitors that are ranked well for a lot of keywords. They might probably have a lot of reviews already. That represents high risk for us, because you really need to knock it out of the park and add extra value to make sure you're converting as well as them. People just are comfortable looking at reviews and buying at that point if you're offering the same product for the same price. And you're not ranking for more keywords than them, which is normally our advantage, right? So normally our advantage is that we're ranked for 80 keywords and they're only on 40 of them. And so we can kind of beat them by generating more sales from more keywords. And then that allows us to stay ahead of them. Even though they might be converting as well or even better than us, we can generate more sales and beat them that way. So there's I would probably just keep doing research, look in different niches, try to find one that might be on that medium to high risk, but has more yellows than oranges, for example. If it's full of yellows, I'm okay to go for that product. But if it's all orange, and everyone's ranked for all the keywords like you're saying, that's probably not a product I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep doing more research. The more products you find for your pipeline and do research, the lower your risk is going to become, because you're just going to naturally find better products. So probably just go back and spend more time researching.
Would you say it's a similar argument if there's not enough competitors in the market? If I only found like the 3 competitors that are selling a particular product that I want to sell?
So repeat the question. I want to fully understand it.
Yeah, and sorry if you heard any background baby noise, but
that's okay, man.
So I was doing a particular research on a product that kind of falls into like the brand that I'm trying to like create, and there's just not enough demand for it based on the keyword research. There's only like maybe 2 or 3 competitors, and that's it. So there's not much demand based on the competition. So in my head, I'm like, well, isn't that an opportunity for me to be one of the new competitors and to infiltrate that kind of market?
Are they selling really well?
No, not really. Based on the research.
So the most important thing is this: unless it's an upswinging trend and you're ahead of the trend, then you can't create demand on Amazon. So you've probably heard me say that in my other videos. It's really important that you understand that. So if they're lacking keywords and can't even find good keywords to sell on, and they're not selling well, the chances are there probably aren't very many keywords that people are using to search for that product. It just doesn't have a lot of demand. So your expectations should be really, tempered there to realize that you're probably going to just do as poor as them. You can add a product like that if you've already established yourself, launched a few products in a niche, and you're building out a brand. You can launch products like that to fill out the brand and to grow your brand value. And you can advertise those extra products to your existing customers through retargeting ads or through insert cards and ManyChat flows and any number of ways, right? So then it becomes a better idea to do a product like that. But I wouldn't start with a product like that, and I usually avoid them.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Try an Adrian one more time.
Hello. Sorry for earlier.
Yeah, no worries. How's it going?
Okay, very good. Thank you for tonight. Okay, so I have 2 questions. First, I told you I will launch in mid-November, hopefully mid-November, and I bought my competitors' products, around 5 products, and they seem to do nothing on email follow-up or anything after, and they're still gaining a lot of reviews. What do you say about that? How do you
So
think
you're
they-
saying that they're gaining a lot of reviews. Do you
Yeah.
know their review rate? Like, are they gaining reviews at 1%, 3%, 8%? Like, I mean, do you know how many reviews to
think-
sales?
some of them, I think 20%, 25%.
I mean, that's out of this world if they're gaining it that high.
Yeah.
So you're wondering how, if they're cheating and how.
Yeah, I based on estimates, on the estimates of sales and the reviews from.
I tell you what, like, so they haven't targeted you with any Facebook ads or
No,
reached out to you in any way?
nothing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Maybe they only target people who bought the same product twice. Is it a replenishable item, like something you buy more than once?
No.
There was no insert card. Yeah, that's an insane amount of like percentage of reviews. I don't know that they're probably not doing it in an honest way or a way that's like terms of service compliant. And if you can't find their funnel for reviews, then I can't help you, man. I mean, the ways people will cheat is that they'll target their buyers on Facebook with ads. They'll bring them into ManyChat. They will supplement reviews with new. The other way that they might be doing that comes to mind is that they might just be bringing in new buyers to leave reviews, like through contacting people through Facebook ads or social media, Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram. You can just cold message people and tell them that you'll give them the product for free or a huge discount and just, buy the reviews. This is very black hat and you'll get suspended and lose your account. So I don't recommend duplicating that method, but it sounds like maybe they're doing something like that.
Okay, but may I enter in trouble if I enter this niche? It's a design-driven product.
What matters, like if they're the main seller that's selling a ton and you're okay being number 2 or 3 or 4, and those guys you can do better than the 3rd, 4th, 5th guy because of keywords.
There's only 1 or 2 in yellow and the rest in green.
Yeah, so if you look at the keywords of the guys that are in yellow, those 2 or 3 guys that are in yellow, and you look at what keywords they're ranked well on and how they're really getting their sales, and you think you can duplicate or beat that, and you're okay with that velocity because that's more of a realistic expectation, then I would be okay doing that product. Just keep in mind when you guys do a master keyword list and you look at a niche and you see a guy that is ranked for every keyword, has a ton of Amazon choice badges, is absolutely crushing it, is ranked for generic keywords like baby toy, and like just crushing it. You can't expect to have that level of success for a launch no matter how good you are at Amazon, like at least immediately. It's going to take a while to get there. Like I like to say that if someone is green, I can beat them in a few weeks, maybe even 2 weeks. If someone is like yellow, like when we color code our master keyword list, a lot of you guys watching might not know what we're talking about with the color coding. We pull the data of the sales of the keyword ranks for all of the like top 10 competitors, like the top 10 sellers of a product. And then based on how many of those keywords or the percentage of those keywords that they're ranked on the top first page for, basically, we will give them a color. So green person's only on 30% or less of those keywords. A yellow is on 30 to 70%. And an orange competitor will be on more than 70%. So we think we can beat a green guy within a couple weeks with no problem. We can rank for a lot of keywords very quickly. We know how to do that. But a yellow guy we think is going to take 4 to 6 weeks to duplicate and beat, depending on where in the yellow spectrum, right? If they're more on the green side or the orange side. And just go ahead and vacuum. So the other guy, like we think that like on the orange side, you might never beat an orange seller. They might just remain the best seller. They might be ranked everywhere, have all the badges and be great. That's fine. But that's also why we look at this chart to determine how risky is this product and what are my real expectations for my future of this product? How risky, how much am I risking my capital by doing this product? And what you'll find, I mean, Moore is having trouble finding products with a lot of yellows and greens, you know, but at the end of the day, like the more products you look at and the more niches, you're going to find a lot of opportunities, a lot of products that you can find where the risk is more of a medium risk, and you're going to be able to beat them. So to answer your question, Adrian, I think you're okay doing a product where you got one good guy, 2 or 3 yellows, and the rest are green. Sounds awesome. It sounds like you can match or beat those yellow guys within a month or two, and you'll be the second, third, or fourth best seller of that product within a couple months.
The only problem I have is that all of them have 200 plus reviews.
Yeah, I'm not worried about reviews. Like if they're bad at Amazon and bad at ranking for keywords, then their reviews don't mean anything, because I'm going to be on keywords that they're not on. So people aren't even going to see their reviews, right?
Yeah. And one more question, please. I know that your opinion is that subject matter is not okay to use, but the subject matter is very good for ranking and indexing. What do you say?
I mean, I don't know if you've seen, a lot of people are posting in the groups that their subject matter field is being deleted. Like what I warned everyone was going to happen is starting to happen. I think that Amazon knows that people are abusing that field for indexing, and they're just starting to delete it, and it's hurting people's ranks. So people are all waking up and all of a sudden they're ranked 30 where they were ranked 4 for a keyword. And that keyword was in their subject matter, and Amazon turning off that subject matter ranking juice, right? Basically is what it is. Yeah. So I don't build my listings utilizing the fields that I don't think they intended us to use for ranking. We know that for ranking, what matters, and in this order, is your title, your bullets, and then your back-end search terms field, 250 characters, no commas, and then your description. Okay, so try to build your listing and optimize it based on that.
And if I have to put more keywords, that I have to stuff more keywords, and I don't have space. The subject matter only 250, and the description already I have 1,000 like that. So
yeah, I mean, you just have to build them into the description, right? Like you have to. I find it hard to believe, like maybe you're going too low in search volume there with stuffing keywords. So to find, and maybe you're not basing it on relevancy enough. If you take I don't know, everything with a relevancy score of 4 and up with at least 500 search volume, and you still can't fit all of those keywords in your title, bullets, backend, and description.
There are a lot of keywords.
That's awesome. I mean, that's just a great product to be going after. Just make sure you hit all the roots properly.
I think there are 150 with more than 300 relevant.
With more than 500 search volume and 4 relevancy?
More than 300 and more than 4 relevancy.
Okay. Yeah, so go from 300 to 500, get less keywords and prioritize those.
All right. In the beginning, should I start with, I have keywords with 50,000 and more relevant with 4K or 3K, which we don't start with. And it contains the same root. The one with the big search volume is...
So for launch, you're going to target the smaller one. But for building your listing, you're going to put the one with the most search volume first and prioritize that one.
All right, I understand. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Aaron, what's up, man?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good. You getting my autographs together?
I wrote you. You never hit me back.
I haven't been able to breathe, but I am serious. I want to get some of those things, so we'll close the deal.
Yeah, no problem. So, question. This is going back to something you talked about and was talked about on Danny's show about ManyChat and how there's this dissertation or theory that it's not working as well because we're getting screwed by the Facebook algorithm. They're targeting people with weird names. I mean, I've noticed personally a lot of people with Indian names in particular are getting targeted, not to sound racial or anything, but it just seems like 75% of the people have Indian names. Have you noticed anything like that? Are you using any special filters or ways to try to filter out people that you think may be abusing or not real genuine buyers?
There are ways you can use, so you can add rules and block people with specific names or so you can start to build a list. The thing is this, when you're running ads, you need to just work on cleaning up the audience that you're targeting, because Amazon wants to show your ad to people that will click on it because that's how they get paid, right?
You mean Facebook wants to show your ad?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Facebook. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Facebook wants to show your ads to people that won't convert and click on it, right? The people that are deal seekers typically are going to click on a lot of those ads. So then they are going to get shown that ad. So you don't even need to group it so much as being from any given ethnicity or anything, right? Or nationality. It strictly is that they're deal seekers. And you need to find a way that when those people come into your bot, first of all, you should find a way to target an audience that's more relevant, that doesn't target the deal seekers. The second part of that is that when people come into your bot, you need to run them through what we call a buyer quality score.
Mm-hmm.
It's a flow that asks them a few questions, and then based on their answers and some of the other things that you find out about them, you can direct them into another direction so that they don't engage with your bot anymore and that they don't get a good deal, so they won't buy your product and hurt your ranking. Typically, their buyer quality score matters a lot for ranking as well on Amazon. So you don't want a lot of deal seekers buying or engaging with your product when you're launching it. So it all goes hand in hand. What you're talking about with people coming into your bot that, don't seem like they really care about your product, and then how difficult a launch can go. Your launch will go a lot better if you have a higher quality buyer. That's more.
But do you recommend like every 24 hours changing the keywords you're targeting instead of the same 4 or 5 keywords? Because maybe that sends mixed messages as well.
If you're rotating the keywords and you have a lot of pay-per-click going on, I mean, you were in both of the masterclasses, the PPC masterclass.
Yeah, and the optimization.
Yeah, so I mean, the pay-per-click masterclass where we went through our SOP of how many keywords to target, that's a lot of keywords that you're sending traffic and clicks through. And so if you're rotating 4 to 6 keywords for 5 to 7 days in the beginning, that's not a big deal. I don't think that we haven't really had a problem with that. And then you can rotate from there. Rotating more frequently, you can try, but you got to be careful because you might be taking away from that movement that you're in the process of building, right? You want to get some traction before you switch keywords typically.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
No problem. Rana, how's it going?
Hey, Brandon. Say hi to Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
She's like, who's that guy? That looks sort of like your friend.
Yeah. Well, Aiden misses you guys for sure. Hopefully we'll be able to get together soon.
You have a lot of important stuff to say. Baby's sleeping.
Videos.
Yes.
We'll talk soon, and maybe we'll go to the beach soon.
That'd be awesome.
Hey, Rana, how are you? I can't hear you. Your mic, I don't know if your mic input setting or Bluetooth or something.
Can you hear me now?
I got you.
You got me?
Yeah, can hear you now.
Okay, great. Yeah, I love your stuff. I've been following you for a long, long time. And just a couple quick questions about your inner circle.
Yeah, sure.
Specifically, like, just by doing the basics, I'm now up to about 150K per month, just doing basic stuff. So
that's awesome.
In terms
Congrats.
Thanks, man. In terms of moving up to the next level, like, are you teaching those types of concepts in your inner circle of seven figures and beyond?
Yeah, we do. So we have probably 150 now sellers that are seven-figure sellers or higher. And so we do discuss like team building. We're going to spend extra time on that. As a matter of fact, my wife and I are going to do a call together on that because we just built up a pretty large team in China that we're still building out. I'm in my new warehouse and we're building up a team here in the States that, you know, is going to be handling some things. And so we went through those growing pains ourselves where we went from, you know, 1 million to 3 million to 6 million to 12 million, you know, so
Right.
there's a lot to it, and breaking down how you have to replace yourself in the business and then change your hat from working, you know, in it to on it. Right. So,
Yeah.
so we talk about like corporate structure, team building, different tasks that you want to give everyone, and reporting. We give, you know, we have some reports that we have that our teams prepare for us on a weekly basis and then on a monthly and quarterly basis. So yeah, we'll be doing more calls on that too. So it's definitely something that we talk about.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I just wanted to see like how much content is advanced, and you know, are you also doing, you know, obviously there's white hat, gray hat, and black hat. Do you get into some of the gray hat stuff?
So we tell you where the line is, and then we tell you what strategies cross the line, and we talk about those strategies, and then we tell everyone to make a business decision. Like we try to stay in the gray to white, and we, you know, and we strongly, we don't believe in attacking or hurting competitors, like, or anything like that. And we're very much about, like, you know, an abundance mentality and being good. So yeah, we don't talk about like some things that are very malicious. Like we don't even want to promote or even talk about it, but we do tell you where the line is and what things people are doing.
Right. Yeah, I'm not referring to like being malicious, but more so in terms of exploiting the angles, sort of.
Yeah, of course. Like, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, like we tell you, Amazon has a written rule, and then they have an intention, and then they have like a business decision that they make because they know everyone does something else, right? And so 100%, and I have this verified from Amazon employees and former Amazon employees, that on a regular basis, upper management will sit with other teams and they'll talk about what sellers are doing and what specific sellers are doing. They have a list of sellers that are doing things that they know they aren't supposed to be doing.
Wow. Okay.
If you think you're getting away with anything on Amazon, then you're mistaken, because Amazon knows everything you do, from IP, like the reports that they see when you log in and your seller account and all of the metrics. Believe me, they're tracking all of that data and they know how to analyze that data. So they know what people are doing and what they're not doing. And so the question that always comes up is, what is the ROI on stopping them from doing this? What is the ROI for Amazon to stop these sellers from doing this? And so if the seller is doing something that is not hurting other sellers and it's making Amazon money, typically they're not going to do anything about it. Where they start to take a stance is if it starts to hurt other sellers, or if it comes out in the public that it's hurting the buyers because it's manipulation that is dishonest and it's hurting the buyers. So review manipulation is very bad because it's basically deceiving buyers, and buyers are the most important thing to Amazon and they need to maintain their integrity. So the ROI on stopping that is very high. Whereas the ROI on stopping something else is negative, like is negative expected value. So it's always a calculation for them.
Gotcha. Okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and to get to your point about the larger sellers that join typically in the inner circle, it's usually just to fill knowledge gaps, right? So you can come in for launches, you can come in for PPC, for ManyChat, for growing the team, for off Amazon brand building, really just to take that next step. There's going to be things that you know and things that you can supplement that will, and it's definitely a positive ROI to join, because it's going to take one tip for you to make a lot of money at your size. Raul, how are you?
Hello, Brendan. Good. What about you?
Good. Good. Happy Prime Day.
Happy Prime Day to you too, man. I'm a partner of Adrian, the guy you just spoke earlier.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I did check the review velocity of the bestseller in the past 30 days, and he has like 1,700, something crazy like that. And I was wondering if that is reportable, or I don't know, can I do something about it?
Yeah, so, okay, if they're manipulating reviews, there's a couple ways they're doing it. Either they're giving away products and paying for the reviews, or they're compensating for reviews, or they could be doing something called merging zombie listings into their listing. So what they'll do is they'll take a dead listing that has a lot of reviews and they'll merge it as a child listing, but you won't see it because there's no inventory. And so, but the reviews are still there. So go through those reviews and make sure it's all for the right product, for their actual product. And if it is for their actual product, then they're probably compensating for reviews. If it isn't, then they've definitely violated terms of service, and it's reportable and something you can get taken down. There's an anti-black hat service that a buddy of mine runs. His name is Ankit John, and it's the name of his company is House of Ankit. And basically, he has his team open up dozens, if not hundreds of cases against competitors of yours that are breaking the rules, so that it's not coming from you, and it's not burning out your account, because Amazon doesn't like it if you complain too much either. Even though you're making a legitimate complaint, they might still come down on you. So he has his team with burner accounts just constantly making complaints until Amazon does something about it, because eventually they see the volume of complaints and then they finally take action and stop the seller from breaking the rules and whatever that is. So they have a list of rules that they'll go after a seller for. It's nothing, they won't do it for anything malicious or just to take down a competitor. It has to be because they were legitimately breaking the rules. And he calls that like an anti-black hat service. So if you find him, he's on my friends list, or he's in the seller systems group. He's also in the inner circle.
Did you say House of Anka? How do you spell that?
Ankit.
Ankit. Thank you. Another quick question. Any tips on creating follow-up emails? As Adrian told you, other competitors' products have essentially no follow-up. And I was wondering what can I do on that? So
yeah, so it's been clarified recently about the rules there. You can ask for a review, but you can't ask for a review in any same email where you offer, like where there's any type of offer. And you shouldn't be doing any marketing in these follow-up emails anyway. That's against the rules. So just don't put any marketing. Make it about customer service, like if they have a problem with their product and how to reach you, or if there's a special instructions for how to use the product, or something like that. Don't link to an outside website, and you can ask for a review only one time. So I recommend doing the customer service piece and the review ask in one email and leaving it at that. If you follow up with someone too many times, you'll get in trouble and you'll lose your ability to send emails or follow-ups to sellers. Another thing that's possible is that you can do something called append. There's a guy by the name of Ian Page who has a service where he will get you he'll match your customer data with an email address that you can use to maybe target them on Facebook with Facebook ads. You have to be very careful. This is also crossing a line with Amazon. They don't like you to reach out in any way to the customers. So you have to be careful with your messaging or the ads and how you target them, so you don't violate any rules. But there's certain ways you can pull your business reports to get enough information to get your audience. And typically what people will do, so they're not breaking any rules, is they'll just take all of their buyers, their previous buyers, and then they'll create lookalike audiences to target on Facebook. So it's not just targeting your messaging and targeting your buyers, which is against the rules. So you're just basically creating a lookalike audience that should convert better when you run ads on Facebook and stuff. So that's another thing that you can possibly do.
Thank you very much, man. Also, will there be a replay available of this on seller systems or somewhere?
I might just post it in the inner circle. I was thinking about maybe posting it. Maybe I'll post it on YouTube. I don't know. Like certain things like this with high level secrets, like I don't know. Maybe I'll post it on YouTube, but I don't know. Maybe I've got to back off a little bit. You guys are asking tough questions.
Got it. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Adil, you're back?
Yeah, boss. Yeah. Boss, can we beat those green guys within 1 to 2 weeks with only with PPC?
Depends on the product. Typically, you should be able to, if you optimize your listing, you have a good listing, good value, you're offering good value. PPC can be enough to rank for a certain amount of keywords. It's just slower. It's harder to get ranked higher. Like you might get the position 12, 15, like, 10, but to get into the top 3 is tough with just PPC. It really, but it's niche. It really depends on the product and your competition and how competitive the product. I know products that don't have a lot of competition where people do PPC only launches and they have success. But I would say that that's rare. I would say that less than 20% of the time that's the case. I would say that the majority of the time it takes more than just PPC to launch effectively and become a top seller for a product.
Yeah, good. Thank you, boss.
Yeah, no problem. Let me get to some of the written questions. Any tips on creating follow-up emails? Okay, we got to that one. When you launch a private label, does your label name keyword hurt your conversion since no one is searching for that term? The problem with that is that it doesn't hurt your conversion. It's just taking up valuable ranking juice space. So Amazon will give you credit for keywords based on where they are in your listing, and the beginning of your title is the most important and gives you the most credit. And if your brand name is there and no one's searching for your brand name, you're kind of wasting that spot a little bit. That's why we recommend using short brand names when possible. Don't create a long, really long brand name and then take up a lot of characters in the beginning of your title. So it does hurt a little bit, yeah. Searchable related, like, yeah. So I mean, you can put keywords in your brand name if you're thinking ahead and know the niche. That's a great point, Samir. You can create a very descriptive brand name that has keywords in it to help you. Yeah, if you're going to be very niche specific. Yeah. Rana, how does it work for new members? How do they catch up to the rest of the group? Also, are you covering teaching advanced strategy? Okay. So basically, we don't restrict when you can enter the inner circle, and because everyone's in a different point in their journey. Like if you're just starting, then you're going to want to start from video number 1, which is finding profitable products and learning how to do the data analysis and the keyword research. But if you're an advanced seller like yourself, maybe you can skip like the sourcing part and you can skip like another section. So I'm never going to like trickle out the course. And I don't believe in the high pressure sales of saying it's closing, right? Like I don't do that stuff. So it's always open and you can always just join and get access to the content and find what you need and supplement the content that you need when you join. All right. Hey, Brennan, love your work. I'm in Sydney, Australia. Are your inner circle Ask Me Anythings normally at this time of day? Do you normally have many Aussie members? Yeah, so typically we either do, starting basically right now, 5 p.m. Eastern, which is pretty early in Australia, or 8 p.m. Eastern. The reason that we do 5 p.m. is because we want to try to cover the globe. We have over 100 Australian students in the inner circle, and we have maybe 50 European students. And so the 8 p.m. Eastern time is a little too late for the Europeans. The 5 p.m. is more doable because that's like 10, 11, and then they can stay up late on those nights. So we try to mix that up. We do 3 days a week, or 3 days of the month. Yeah, three times during the month we do the 5 p.m. Eastern, and then one time we do the 8 p.m. So one day a month we'll do the later. So typically it works out really well for Australia. You guys can, it's either morning for you or like early morning for you. Now you said, I've done the Freedom Ticket, which is great, but missing a closed Facebook group where I can create a mastermind with, etc. Yeah, I think that the Inner Circle Mastermind. So when you guys sign up for the college level course that we have, you get all of the content that we've created, and you get 1 year in the Inner Circle. So you get the content forever, and you'll get the content to the point when you leave the Inner Circle, but you'll get to keep accessing that. So it won't be updated for you after that, but you'll keep access to what you had. And then after the year, to stay in the Inner Circle, it's $1,000. So there's a renewal for staying in the mastermind because we want to keep it fresh and keep it with active members. But yeah, the mastermind's super important. We teach an abundance mentality in there. We want everyone to give back because the more you give, the more you receive. I mean, it's just the law of nature, right? So it's awesome. So you know, everyone in there is very helpful, very active. And then every week I'm like this. And then if you have a question during the week, you'll get 10 answers in no time in the Inner Circle. So for your PPC course, can you launch the top page one for 10 to 30 keywords using PPC alone? I answered that. Typically, it's not that easy, depending on the niche. So hi, Brandon. Thanks for your time and advice. Your masterclass has been awesome. In terms of PPC optimization strategy, how often should we be creating brand new master keyword lists for a product line following the launch phase in order to optimize best, most efficiently using the most up-to-date master keyword list? Yeah, Seeger. So I don't think you need to redo that master keyword list very often. I mean, you can try running it like, you know, after your honeymoon. You should kind of be narrowed in for the first 3 to 4 weeks. You should have your keywords ready and your strategies and what you're going to be rotating and what keywords you're going to be targeting. But for the most part, after that, when you're going to add more campaigns, you can run it again at that time. So it's most up to date because then you can go super wide.
Is he referring to PPC specifically on that question?
Yeah, he's specifically referring to PPC. So running the master keyword list again to find more keywords to target for PPC. I believe he was talking about, yeah. Yeah, in terms of PPC, yeah. Thanks for the Ask Me Anything. I have a question about Chinese competition. I see Chinese sellers coming into the market with very poor listings and shooting to the top very quickly. What type of black hat tactics do they use, and is there any sort of way to combat that? That's a very short-term strategy, Tyler, and they won't stay there unless it's not profitable for them. So I wouldn't really worry about that. Typically, they're just burning and churning. You're trying to build a product for the long term and build a brand. So I would focus on just what you can do. Don't worry about them. Like, they're going to come and go on a regular basis. We see it all the time. Hey, Brandon, I've been following your PPC SOP for launching my product, but I've been struggling to stick my organic rankings. Note that I am already on day 15 since I started the SOP. Any advice on how to stick my keywords organically? So, Louis, typically when you're not staying at the top after you've achieved that with the launch, it's going to be because you aren't converting as well as your competition. And part of that could be your PPC isn't converting as well as your competition, or your PPC is converting too low and dragging down your overall conversion rate and click-through rate. Remember, those 4 things matter the most for ranking: is click-through rate, conversion rate, relevancy to that keyword, so that relevancy piece, and then your total sales. So if you're running PPC that isn't converting well, turn it off. Like, get in there and cut it off right away, because you're probably dragging down the average conversion rate of your listing, and you'll see your ranks will go back up after you cut off bad PPC. You have to be very aggressive with getting rid of bad PPC, and you'll notice a big difference. So a lot of times it's addition through subtraction with PPC. It's in a position now where you can spend less and make more. It's great. Do I use Helium 10 for the keyword research? Cerebro Magnet. Yeah, currently we use Helium 10 as the main tool, Brandon. Adrian, for the replay, I'm considering putting it up for a short period of time. I don't know if I'll leave it up because I know a lot of people want to see it, so we'll see. Okay, so Kieran, how's it going?
Hey Brandon, how you doing?
Good. What can I do for you?
Good. Yeah. Sorry to chase you. I know I messaged you earlier. It was just regarding that point. I'm not sure if you saw the document I sent you. I'm not sure if I should join the
Oh, I didn't
call.
get I did. I haven't gotten a chance to look at it yet. No.
Okay. Would you rather me wait, or did I want to take up too much time?
No, it's fine. I mean, if you could summarize it in under a minute, go for it.
Okay. I'll try. I've basically got a product which I launched last year. It's a sports and outdoor product. This was under a different mentor. I think I joined you in April, and I've admittedly made a few mistakes with it around not calculating stock properly and things like that. So I've had in the space of a year 2 relaunches. It's been hit quite badly by some bad reviews when I wasn't selling, all in a very short space of time, which I think was a bit suspect. And now I'm just in a position of, should I guess launch it again? Should I, because I sold out through COVID and everything else, because it's obviously when COVID happened, people wanted to obviously spend more money, and it's an outdoor product, so people are using it in their gardens and parks and things. So I've put a deposit down because I relaunched in September. I'm still selling it now, but the sales are quite low because this product heavily relies on the travel sector, and obviously warm weather is quite a seasonal product. So I put a deposit down to restock. I'm just really wondering whether I should continue with that, what your advice is, because I think I came on in a couple of weeks ago, and you was talking about big mistakes that people tend to make, and they get too emotionally attached to a product, and time to cut loose, don't get emotionally attached to something. And I just wanted to get your advice on that.
Yeah, it sounds like that's where you're at, right? Like you don't want to admit that it probably isn't a great product.
Yeah.
Look, it had its moment. I think that COVID allowed a lot of people to sell through a lot of inventory.
Yeah.
But that's not a normal situation, right? And I don't think lockdowns are gonna happen again, even no matter how bad this gets. It seems like we're determined just to keep the economy open, and if you die, you die, right? Like that's kind of like the attitude that Americans are taking. So what I would say is, if the product isn't selling well right now, and we're coming into winter and it's a warmer weather product, I would try to get the deposit back, or see what else they sell. If they can give you a catalog, and maybe there's products that they make that are good for spring, and you can find a different product, they'll allow you to take that credit and move it towards another product. But I would move away from it.
You would, yeah. Okay.
Now, if you can improve the quality and you think you can launch it in spring or before spring, then maybe there's an opportunity there for you to relaunch it, right? Because this one has a lot of negative history. You have some bad reviews. It's probably all contributing to those slower sales. But if you do the research now, knowing what you know now with how to do a master keyword list and properly look at the data, and it still looks like a good opportunity, then just hold off on getting your inventory until you're ready to launch in like February or March, right? And then just do it again, but then in the meantime, just focus on other products.
Yeah. With getting, if I was going to go down that road of getting a deposit back, have you experienced that before? Is that just dependent on the supplier? It's quite a big ask. I have a good relationship with them.
It really does depend on the supplier. If they can sell that inventory to somebody else, usually they'll do it. And but it depends how long ago you paid it and where they're at with the manufacturing. If they've got the product all sitting there ready to ship out with your label and everything on it, and it's already customized, it's going to be difficult. But if it's just a raw product and they've just made a bunch and they're going to sell them anyway, then you could say, look, you could pay me back over a month. Like just, or pay me 80% back. You can negotiate with them.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck.
Thank you.
Andrew, what's up, brother? Look at this. You're even jumping.
What's going on?
You're even jumping over to the public side, right?
I saw the post. Had a couple questions for Prime Day. Before I do that, though, since it is a public meeting, I'll just kind of give my 30-second opinion on the group. I think you know, as long as you're committed to Amazon, it's pretty much a no-brainer. I joined when I was doing pretty bad, actually. And I'd probably say the payoff period for me was within 6 months. I mean, Brandon had, you know, I think the first office hours I joined, he talked about weight and dimensions, and immediately, you know, I went through all my SKUs that were doing like 490. I got two or three of them down to 348. I got one down to 250 for fulfillment fees, which, you know, for those products immediately pushed my ROI from like 100% to 250%. One product was selling 5 a day, and then because of that, I was able to lower the price by about 30%, and now it's selling at about like 25 to 35 products a day. So I mean, that alone has paid for the course. But then on top of that, it's just like the daily checking of the Facebook group, seeing what issues people are run to, and you know, when people are doing like when people post those issues, you know, you can be proactive about it, and if you're lucky and it hasn't hit your account yet, you know, you can make the necessary adjustments before it affects your sales.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. That wasn't necessary. But I appreciate you know, look, you participate a lot and you're all in on Amazon, and it's paying off for you. You're doing really well, and you've launched a lot of products now, and you're crushing it. But it's a solved game, right? Like I keep telling people, like if you just do the processes and you repeat them, then you're going to do well. And that you're another example of that. There are many in the inner circle, and you're another example of that. I appreciate the plug there, though.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think at the end of the day, it's about, you know, a lot of it's just about risk mitigation and going forth. You know, I think a lot of people, and especially me, you know, it took me 2-3 months to find my first product. You know, it's not doing that great. It's probably making me like 25-30 bucks a day. But throughout the course, like even my product failures, I'll lose 20-30%, but it's not, you know, 10 or 15,000 down the drain. It's, you know, you kind of adjust necessarily, and you know, and then you move forth. But it definitely helps a lot when there's like a support group, and when you have like an SOP to know, okay, well, if this product isn't doing well, then how do I just turn over the inventory as quickly as possible and move it on to the next product.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Okay, so a quick question for you. So obviously today's Prime Day, and then you can't do the Prime Day deal, but you can do the Prime exclusive discounts, right? So I've already have all those set up. Do you think, and I know you have said not to change your price dramatically because it might affect your algorithm. So let's say I have a product for $20, and I'm not trying to take a loss on it. If I change the sales price to $24, but then I have a coupon or the Prime exclusive discount for like 20 bucks, do you think that's worth doing? Because I don't want to upset the algorithm. What are your thoughts on that?
That's interesting. Is it allowing you to do that?
Yeah. You don't get the Prime Day deal badge, but you
you don't get the badge, right?
You don't get the badge.
I just had to look over Jennifer.
Last year you got the badge. This year,
yeah, I knew that they had put an end to that, because like obviously that's bad. That's bad practice on their part. Like there's some consumer protection laws you're probably violating if you do something like that, right? Because you're not being honest about the sale. So they can't give you that badge. At the very least, they're at least doing that.
But look, you get the red badge.
Yeah, what I would say is
just as good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. I mean, you still get that. Don't be that flagrant with it. Like, give a discount if you're going to give a discount. Just bring it up to 22 and then bring it down to 18 or something. Like, you lose, it's $2 less per sale, and you can increase your velocity. I think the most important part for everybody to understand is that with velocity limitations or inventory limitations right now and storage limitations, like, don't push too hard. Like, you don't need to blow out your inventory just because it's Prime Day, and you don't need to run your sales and lose money or lose a lot of potential profit because it's Prime Day. A lot of times you're going to end up just making less money in the long run. Now, if you have a steady flow of inventory, you have more on standby, and you have more than enough inventory, yeah, blow it out and increase that bottom line. make more money, right? But everything needs to be, you know, you need to think ahead about everything in your supply chain, and maintaining inventory and not stocking out is I think the most important thing to be thinking about on days like Prime Day. Because now you're a month away from the season, from Q4 really kicking into gear. Like you've got to be thinking ahead a little bit here at this point. So don't be as blatant as just not discounting at all. But yeah, it's a good strategy what you're talking about.
Okay, and so you don't think it would like negatively impact the
keywords,
algorithm, right? Or like raising
it by less than 10%, you should be okay. So like going from 20 to 22, you're probably all right. 21.97, right? But if you go from like 20 to 24.97, then you're above like a certain threshold where Amazon's algorithm might punish you a little bit. You might see a pullback in some keywords temporarily. I don't recommend that. Like you want to trickle it up if you're going to raise your price. So yeah, I think you're good to go if you just raise it a buck or two just to try to absorb some of that Prime Day deal, that discount.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck, man. Adrian, you're back?
Yeah, hello.
How's it going?
A quick question, a PPC question. So I think you said that we should start the PPC budget with around 50% of the total inventory, or something like that. So let's say
No. So your starting budget for PPC should be no more than 30% of your expected total sales. So if your total sales you're expecting for the day is $300, you shouldn't have more than $90 as PPC budget. Okay, that's the SOP. So it should be based on your sales percentage, and that's only for launch for the first week. As you get out of that first 7 to 10 days and you get into growth, the growth phase, you want to lower that tacos, that total advertising spend over sales. You want to lower that to about 20%. And then the goal is to get as close to, under 10%, as close to 5% as possible in the long term. So just keep that in mind.
All right. So I told you that I have this product has a lot of keywords. So let's say I will do around 10 campaigns at the beginning, and I have only $40-50.
Yeah, I mean,
how should I distribute these two?
Just make sure you're targeting all of the routes. Be a little bit more selective with your keywords. Bring it down to 30 keywords, and then do 4 campaigns with 25, $20 a campaign. You're at $80. Remember, PPC is going to generate sales too. So if you're spending that much on PPC and it's generating sales, it kind of like covers a little bit of itself there, right? As long as your ACoS isn't ridiculous. So, give it a shot and then adjust after a day or two. Like you start to adjust your campaigns and your budgets.
This means I will not go that wide. So only if I cut the keywords, only 2 or 3, 4 campaigns. I have in mind to do 10 campaigns or something like that.
If you can spend more and keep it around 30%, then you can try it. But you don't want to have less than like $10 a day per campaign. You're not going to get many clicks.
Even if I have 5, 6 keywords per campaign.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like if you can only get 10 clicks, that's not a lot of clicks per day. So. You don't want to spend less than, $10 is very low. I like to keep minimum at least $20 a day per campaign. And then I adjust. If it runs out very quickly and I see that it's a good keyword, I can increase the budget on that one, cut back the budget on bad keywords and bad campaigns, and then start to control the flow of my advertising spend after 2 or 3 days of data. So you need to, when you first set it up, do your best to keep it at 30%. But if it goes a little over, to get data, just make sure you adjust very quickly.
All right, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Let me read some questions here. And I think we're gonna cut it off here. Like we got maybe 2 more I'll get to because it's going on an hour and a half already. Yeah, and So you guys know I announced it, and for the special for the Prime Day, I am offering a special discount for the Inner Circle. So normally
Okay.
I discount it maybe $500. You know, very rarely even more than that. Today and tomorrow I'm gonna do half price, so it's gonna be $1,500 off the Inner Circle. To join the Inner Circle is only gonna be $1,497. So you get all of the content from all of our videos that we've done up to date immediately, and then you get a year. You get a year in the Inner Circle for $1,500. You're just gonna sign up and use the code Prime Day all together in caps, and you'll be able to get that discount. So if you guys are interested in joining the Inner Circle and haven't yet, I highly recommend doing it in the next 2 days, because I usually don't do that. Okay, let me see. Hey, do you think asking for reviews with follow-ups are effective, especially as Amazon ask for them automatically? Yeah, you should definitely, you can have a follow-up where you ask for reviews one time. That's it. You can also hit the button and then they'll send a message and ask for reviews too. So there's that follow-up button. Hey, Jonathan, just saw your hi. I'm just scrolling down. Any suggestions on regaining rankings after being out of stock for a long time, 90 days? 90 days is a really long time, Mark. I would probably treat it almost like a new launch. I would probably do some search, find, buy, some rebate key. Just make sure you're hitting the right metrics on add to carts and conversions. And I would start my PPC, the best PPC. I would start it all over, but you might have some trouble with it converting the way it was before in the past, because that also has a quality score and a history, and sometimes that'll get punished. So lower your price, add a coupon, do whatever you can to boost the conversion rate of your product, and you might see it recover very quickly. You might need to do some extra off Amazon marketing, and you might need to find another way to give it a boost. Typically, you're going to want to cut that PPC down in the first few days. Don't spend as much as you used to, because it'll be a higher percentage of your total sales, which will lower your overall conversion rate, because your keyword ranks aren't going to be there right away. So what ends up happening on a relaunch is that you'll start off lower in keyword rank, so you'll get less organic sales, but your PPC will start showing up right away, and that might start converting. So now a much higher percentage of sales are PPC, but that converts at a lower percentage. So now your overall percentage is lower, and it's gonna force you to struggle to get back up to where you belong, where Amazon's used to seeing a nice high conversion rate. So you might want to lower your PPC spend in the first few days also. Keep only the highest converting stuff on. So I hope that helps. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question, guys. I got to cut it off. Yeah, I know there's more questions I didn't get to, but you know, I got to cut it off at some point. I could do this probably for 5 straight hours with you guys. But thank you again, and happy Prime Day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message in the group. And I will try to get this replay up on YouTube for at least a few days for you. And if you have any questions about joining the Inner Circle or anything like that, let me know. The new masterclass, I do have a discount. So if you guys haven't watched the new masterclass, use the code VIP, all caps together. That'll save you $50 as well. And I'll post both of those links really quickly. Inner Circle. Oh, I gotta send it to everyone, sorry. And so it's seller-systems.com/inner circle and seller-systems.com/masterclass2. Thank you for joining, guys. And if you guys need anything else, just feel free to message in the group, tag me. I'll see you in the Seller Systems Succeeding on Amazon FBA group. And happy Prime Day, guys. Hopefully everything's going well for all of you. Take care.